Hello and welcome to the Party Center Speaks podcast. This is the podcast for family entertainment center and event venue owners, operators, managers, and staffers looking to grow their businesses. So if you want to learn more about increasing booking parties, improving your facility operations, and so much more, then this podcast is for you. My guest on today's episode is Sheryl from Sheryl Golf. Sheryl, would you like to tell us all more about it?
It would be my pleasure. First, Nadia, thank you and Party Center Software for having me. Super, super excited. As I mentioned to you when we were talking on the webinar, this is over 35 years of, oh my gosh, so many experiences and trial and error at our own place and being one of the best in the industry, not because we said it, but guests said it and vendors, and it was really kind of cool. We had a 32-acre mini golf, go-karts, batting cages, double-decker driving range, all sorts of fun stuff. Let's not forget food and beverage. Woohoo!
Can't
Everybody's
forget that.
favorite. Um, but I think what set us apart was really the amount of training and support we gave our team, and that we did have the best staff you could ever imagine.
Yep. And I can attest, Sheryl Golf is a nationally recognized business enhancement firm serving golf, recreation, family entertainment centers, and retail industries. Their mission is to provide practical and easy to implement solutions that increase your profits, improve your operation, while keeping your customers happy, entertained, and returning, which that's the most important part. And today we're going to discuss mascots and how they impact your brand, your facility, and ultimately who you choose to represent you. So, Sheryl, do you think, or what do you think a mascot really means? Could that be the animal or even the staff members themselves?
So I was smiling when the first time you ever said we're going to talk about mascots, because at our park we had Chip, get it, golf Chip. We
Yeah.
had one of our sales reps at the end of the year. They knew I had $5,000 left over, and I said the person who came up with the most creative campaign would get the extra 5,000, whether it was radio, whether it was so, it didn't matter. And then one guy came and goes, I'm gonna win. I said, let's hear it. He said, how about this? The Fairway Adventures of Chip and Putt. I'm like, okay, where are you going with it? He said, well, chip is this and putt is that. You've got a golf bag, you've got a ball. And the first campaign we're going to run is, so what are you doing New Year's Eve, Chip? Oh, I'm getting smashed at Fairway. I'm like, oh my gosh. He was so creative, and so did his whole team, that from there we actually created our first mascot.
Mm.
And if you were wondering who spent the most time in the mascot costume, yours truly. Yours truly. If you put all the staff hours together, they still didn't equal how many hours I was in that costume. Um, but I think it's important to understand that it's not just coming up with an icon or an animal or a symbol or something. It's how do you use that as part of your marketing?
Yeah.
Are you going to just say, oh, we've got this mascot and out it goes? If you do, you're looking for trouble. You have to, number one, train somebody to be in that mascot costume.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that that mascot always has a handler. Because if you don't think that a little kid is going to run up and try and push the mascot and see if they can knock them down, I'm like, okay, somebody take care of this little kid for me before I turn around and say, hey, where's your mom?
Yep, like at
Um,
Disney, you always see them with someone else.
Absolutely. It's for the mascot safety and also for the kid safety. For
Mm.
example, one of my friends had a mascot that had a long dragon's tail. When they let him out on his own, he would turn and do a spin and took out two kids.
Oh,
So now
wow.
you've got two kids on the ground in tears. I'm like,
And yeah.
yeah, maybe we need to do a little mascot training. And it's funny, when I went off to college, the head football coach, his son was the first mascot for the Philadelphia Phillies. So you know that great
Interesting.
big, And I'm like, and now he has like a mascot camp and all this other stuff. Um, I'm actually working on a project that's set to open this summer, and it's a branded property. And they said, you do realize the mascot doesn't go out. I said, wait, let me just tell you. And I went through like my top 10 things. And they were silent. They're like, you've done mascot training before? I said, of course I have.
Yeah.
Doesn't everybody do mascot training? And the answer is no. But it includes everything from how to greet a kid, how to get down lower, what do you do when a kid starts crying, how do you win over the parents, how do you handle a big crowd? Do you have lines? There's just so many things you have to consider.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the second part of this is why are we spending a couple $1,000s to get a mascot?
Mm.
What's their plan if they're just going to keep it? And I would say 70% of the mascots that I've been out to a park to visit, whether it's the roller skating mascot, whether it's the robot when I get there, I said, when was the last time this was out? Oh, about 6 months ago. What good is it doing in your closet?
Yeah.
You have got
What
to
is the good
find
in there?
opportunities to get that mascot out.
Yeah.
But I
And
want to I want to try and tie the mascot into another concept that we work on.
mm,
Um, in my first book, which was all about marketing, people didn't understand that you can have what's called a street team. So I just posted for a new client that here are the jobs we're hiring for, ambassadors of fun, street team, blah, blah. Every person that came for the hiring party said, we had to look up what a street team was. I said, good, what do you think it is? And we would talk about it. And those are the people that are your biggest fans, your party hosts, your cheerleaders that go out to street events and they actually hand out flyers, talk to
mm,
parents, whether you spin a wheel, whether you have Plinko. We used to take a mini golf hole with us. If you got a hole in one, you'd get a bigger prize. If you just putted, you'd get a regular prize.
yeah.
Whatever prize they wanted, we gave them. Um,
Yeah.
but it's really, it's one of your marketing tools. It's something that should be in your arsenal. It's not just, oh, we've got a street team and we don't use it. Do you go to the street fair? Do
Mm,
you go to a parade? Do you go to the school field day? People like, we
yeah.
didn't even know schools did field days. I said, you've got to make sure that you have a full calendar of places to go for your street team. Do you
Yeah.
partner with the local movie theater? When it's the biggest movie coming out, are you going to make sure that your street team's there? And I'm going to call it what I learned in college. It's tabling,
Mm.
where you have a table and you're giving out flyers, brochures, balloons, swag, different things. How are you making it fun?
Yeah, exactly. And so you mentioned how yours were called chip and putt because you had a golf thing. How important do you think it is for businesses to match up their mascot with their idea? Or could they go outside the box and have something completely unthought of?
It depends on what your mix of attractions.
Mm.
I think that to kind of tie it back is good. You can see that some of the adventure parks will do a robot or different. It's hard. It's like, okay, what ties to the trampoline? Mr. Jumpy, Mr. Different things.
Yeah.
But I do like it to kind of stay branded so that ours matched our colors, so
Mm.
that the logo was still our logo and our font, so that it's brand recognition and identity. Think about this. If I say to you, Snap, Crackle, and Pop, what are you going to say? What brand?
Uh,
What cereal is Snap, Crackle, Pop?
I'm trying to think. I know exactly which one it is, but I can't even think of it. The only one in my head is the tiger and the frosted flakes.
I was going to do that one next. I almost did it first. Snap, Crackle, and Pop, Rice Krispies.
Yep, that was it. I was thinking corn pops for some reason.
That's okay. If I said to you, if you're where do you live, by the way?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. So if I said Hawks, what's the first thing you're going to think of?
Yep, the basketball team.
So every sport, whether it's a hockey team, whether it doesn't matter. Sports teams are notorious for having more mascots than family entertainment centers. But when you go to different amusement parks, you'll see characters walking around.
Yeah.
You'll see that you can use your mascot for a character breakfast. Come have breakfast with Robo Bobo, or I forgot what oh
Yeah.
my gosh, my one client's gonna say, how could you forget my new robot's name? But you just told it to me once. Um, but I think it's really important to tie everything together in a nice, neat bow.
Yeah.
So, when your street team goes out, what's the most important thing I tell them?
Represent the brand well?
Represent the brand well. You cannot go out if your shirt looks like you rolled it up into a ball and it was your pillow last night.
Yeah.
That's not the image we're looking for. We're that, family fun, clean. I would occasionally have to give a new shirt out because I'm like, did you sleep in that? Like, how does it look that wrinkled? And I bought the ones that you could just shake and they should unwrinkle, but it's
Yeah.
okay. Um, but I think the second most important thing besides represent the brand is why are you going and what are we going to achieve?
Mm.
What is the purpose of going to this? So if you're going to a parade, is the purpose to throw out 1,000 beads that have a bounce back coupon, $5 off a jump pass? Or is it to throw out, if it's a Mardi Gras, that's usually people are like, we just throw out beads. I'm like, well, how do you know if anybody knows who you are?
Exactly.
Gotta know.
Just
My
getting out all
favorite
these
one,
beads.
if I was in my office, not in my video studio, my favorite one is that for a place in Florida, I said, you know what? It is hot here. I don't care what you
Yeah.
tell me, it is hot. As in Hotlanta also.
Yeah.
Um, but we did, I'm a big fan, and we gave out fans for people to
Yeah,
fan
that's smart.
themselves. And it had, it's branding, but we also tracked it. Everybody's like, nothing in marketing can always be tracked. I said, name something and I'll tell you how I've tracked it.
How did you
So
track the fans?
we had a bounce back coupon on it. Thank you, Nadia, for asking that. So it had two different coupons on that they could bring in and we could scan it.
That makes sense. Like a
It
discount
was
code specifically for the fan, like fan 15, and get 15% off for getting the fan. Yeah.
correct. So, I'm a big fan of Tropical Breeze and,
Mm.
different things that you can do. Um, but we're going down marketing. We can stick back to mascots and different
Yeah.
things. Sorry about that.
No, good. And it's interesting how you kind of mentioned that it's not 100% a deal breaker if your mascot isn't exactly on the nose with your brand, like we mentioned with the sports teams or even with the cereal brands. Because what does a tiger have to do with Frosted Flakes? And so, how would you go about setting the boundaries between customer and mascot, or even ambassador? Because we discussed how ambassadors can be mascots too for the brand, and then ambassador, mascot, and company. Like how you mentioned, keep your uniforms clean. Mascot might be hot in those suits. So when can you take it off? When can you not take it off? Because imagine a little kid seeing the tiger remove his head and it's like, what?
Oh yeah, that is a big no-no. That's in part of our training. Somebody said, "Okay, so you have a mascot handbook that's more than 5 pages." I said, "Yeah, I think the last one was maybe 15 or 20 pages. Like, there's not that much material." I said, "There is. It includes how to take care of the costume.
Yeah.
How do you prevent that? I don't want to go in if somebody's been there sweaty and smelly. So
Mm,
what do you do? How often do you clean it? How often do I allow a mascot to stay in that costume? Depends on the temperature and humidity. I don't need my mascot passing out on the floor.
yeah, definitely
You
not.
know, that we have a symbol, like, when you get tapped, how, different things that we have them do to make sure that there's communication between the mascot and the handler. If
Mm.
there's an emergency, what is the emergency evacuation? You can't just take your head off and run, you know.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't matter whether you try a cooling vest, a fan, it's hot in there. So
Mm.
I have a chart depending on the temperature and humidity that will determine how long I let the mascot in, and then they could be in for just 15 minutes, and then they must be off for 15 minutes. during that 15 minutes, if they don't have at least a bottle of water and just they need to get inside, cool down. There's a
Yeah.
whole process to it. And somebody said, I've never heard somebody having a temperature chart. I said, my degree in college was not mascots, um, but my degree actually included sports training. So we had a temperature guide that if it got too hot, the football players couldn't practice in pads. So I
Yeah.
took that same concept and just said, hey, we're going to apply that to a mascot that,
Yeah.
they can only be out a certain amount of time. But it's even important when you're training, what's that new movie out? How to Train a Dinosaur?
Oh,
Is that,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so how to train your mascot. We don't have animatronics that move our mascot around. It's a real person in there.
Mhm.
So we will actually have them practice certain poses that we approve and make sure, oh, like that makes sure more
Yeah.
fun and more visible and just simple little things.
Yeah. And what rules do they have regarding boundaries with the children who may not understand rules? Like I know at Disney, they're not supposed to let go of a child that's hugging them or things like that.
So it's interesting when a parent takes a child and takes a step back, you know that that child is not ready to be approached. And we teach the mascot, if you see that, it's okay. You can take a step back. It's all just making sure that you mirror the action of the child. So if the
Mhm.
child like starts going back, you're not going to sit there and say, okay, let me run up and give them a hug. When they're ready, they will come up, whether it's a high five, a low five. Um, it's also sometimes you're up here looking down. That kid's looking way up like, whoa, that's a
Yeah.
scary. So you just have to adjust to each situation and they have to know what their rules and boundaries are. And
Yeah.
no, and do not take that head off in public. Unless you are back in the back office with the door closed, with the inside door shut, then you can get out of the costume.
Yeah. Just all about the rules of the handbook.
Yeah, and it's, you know what? It's important that you do spend the time training.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't get trained the first time I jumped in it. I was like, whoa. Some costumes you need to be a certain height. Like I couldn't put my littlest party host in there because she couldn't even see through the eyes.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, if you're not at least 5'5" for this costume, it is not going to work.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's really a good part of your mix. It's not the only thing. Um, Nor will I say to somebody, well, if you don't have a mascot, then you can't continue marketing. But
Yeah.
if you do have a mascot, are you bringing that mascot to your birthday parties? Is that a photo op moment? Is there a way that everybody knows at a certain time? Disney's a perfect example. They used to say, so what time does the 2 o'clock parade start? Like, what?
Yeah.
What they're really asking is, what time will it pass by where I am? So if you have a mascot and you say every Saturday at noon, Tony the Tiger, or whoever you have, is going to be out, you better make sure you don't disappoint somebody.
Yeah. 100%.
No, we went to a children's entertainment center recently. And it was because on the website it said, oh, we're going to have Olaf or whoever it was,
Mm.
Elsa. And we got there with plenty of time and we waited and we waited. And then I finally said, are we too early or what happened?
Mm.
Oh, it was daylight savings time. The character came an hour before you ever showed up. We weren't even really open, but we let the character. I'm like, so the people that drove, it was just weird. You have to
Yeah.
honor whatever you're putting out in the media.
Yeah. 100%. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. I appreciate you sharing those amazing insights, Cheryl. Thank you again for joining us and sharing all the info about mascots.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And remember the other thing about mascots
What is
that
everything?
in the event you get a call, this is my one sad kind of thing, but let's say that the children's hospital near you calls and said, our child who has cancer is only going to make it for another week. Do you think you could do a mascot visit? The answer is always absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether you have to be that one in there or somebody else, just remember that it does make a difference to a little kid. It makes a difference to adults. I can't believe how many adults want to high five different mascots. But I
Yeah.
thank you, Nadia. Great time with you on the webinar, now on your podcast. Remember, marketing is not a one-time thing.
Mhm.
It's not, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
It is absolutely a marathon, and you really do have to have an action plan and know how you're going to execute it. Wait, that ties right into
The
executing
webinar.
from our last webinar.
Yep, 100%. I thank you again. I thank you to our listeners for tuning in to this episode of Party Center Speaks. I hope that what we shared today was useful for family entertainment centers everywhere. If you have any feedback or topics you'd like for us to discuss, be sure to email marketing@partycentersoftware.com. This is a weekly podcast, so you can expect episodes every Thursday. Party Center Speaks is powered by Party Center Software. If you'd like to learn more about us or our vendor program, head on over to partycentersoftware.com and be sure to give us a follow on all social media. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.